Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Bob, and I got a message for you today. Just saw the movie Unplanned today, and it's an incredible movie, very well done, checks all the boxes, great meaning, great message. Go see the movie. And there are a couple very difficult scenes in the first 25-30 minutes, and just be prepared for that. After that, there's really not much to worry about as far as that goes. It is rated R. And the acting is great. The casting is very well done. The cinematography is great. The directing, very well done. Produced. And it's based on a live story of Abby Johnson, who is a former director of Planned Parenthood somewhere in Texas, a suburb of Houston. And she had 2 abortions herself and ends up becoming a volunteer along the way through college, I guess. And she has an abortion her first year, freshman year in college. And then she tries to break up with the guy, but then she discovers she is pregnant again with child in the family way, as they say. So anyway, the movie plot is basically her ending up becoming a volunteer and subverting the pain of her abortion. And maybe she was just trying to make amends for what she knew was wrong. And then she fell for the line where, Planned Parenthood has put out there that they are just helping women who wouldn't be helped normally, and it's cheap, and we're just helping women, it's health care for women. And there's one scene in the movie where there's a complication in the abortion, and they went to call she wanted to call an ambulance, but the director of that time of the abortion clinic said that we don't do that here because we don't want the bad press. So the movie continues, and she gets married. She has a daughter. She gets pregnant, and they actually celebrate the fact that she's expecting. The day after the shift was over on a Saturday. On Saturdays, that's when they did all their abortions, I guess. And 38 abortions were done that day. And then the whole, staff got together and had a 2-hour party for Abby and her newborn. Like a baby shower or something. I'm not sure if that's exactly what it was, but it was more like just an acknowledgement from her co-workers. So it wasn't officially a baby shower. The movie is very well done. It's very well written, and it's a timely movie in the sense that there's a lot going on with funding of Planned Parenthood. And, Planned Parenthood does 33% of the abortions in America. And I don't think they do any mammograms. They do like 1% of the cancer screenings. And what else? But anyway, I thought I had it written down, but anyway, actually, if you check out Liz Wheeler on AON TV, she has a good little thing on Planned Parenthood. I think it was put out this week. So the movie is about Abby taking over this clinic and rising to power in the organization, and getting the award of the Employee of the Year at the regional office in Houston. And during that meeting, the director talks about plans for the next year, the director of the region, and she goes and says, we're going to increase abortions 100%. We're going to try to double all the abortions. Now, Abby's under the impression that try to keep abortions, to limit them. So she, raises her hand, and this is just after she gets the award for, Employee of the Year. And she kind of just asked that honest question: is, aren't we supposed to be trying to get women to do other things, And long story short, after the meeting with all these people, abortion directors from all over Texas, she gets pulled aside as she's leaving, and I think her name was Cheryl, the director of the region, who was formerly the director of her own clinic, coincidentally. She really lets her have it and explains to her that, like McDonald's, we don't make money on the hamburger, we make money on the fries and the soda that we can mark up a lot. And so she says that the abortions are the fries and the soda. That's where we make our money, and we are an abortion provider. That's what we do. And so Abby's stunned by this, and it continues to gnaw at her that that's what she's doing. And her, this great interplay with her husband and her mom and dad, who play great roles, very well cast, and her daughter as well. So she's in this business, and also I should mention that there's a pro-life group that prays outside the abortion clinic on a seemingly daily basis, and they all kind of get to know each other, and this becomes a problem because we find out what Abby testifies, and the character actually testifies that when their customers come in to get the abortion, when they see the people praying, then the no-show rate goes way up to 75%. So that's one of the things I learned in the movie, is that the prayer does work, but they don't want anybody to know. So when you're out there and you're praying for, the abortion mill, that is an effective thing to do, because a lot of abortions you don't even see this actually, but the Planned Parenthood knows this, because they have a sheet of who's expected to come in, and they know that when there's people out there praying, up to 75% of the customers won't show up, and they reconsider. The other thing I learned is, in the ultrasound, they don't show the ultrasound to the patient, and there's a reason for that, is because the ultrasound shows the beating heart and the baby moving, right? And but also they have to take the ultrasound, because that's how they charge the customer, if by the head of the fetus. Now the fetus is something. There's a word that was put out there. It means unborn baby, right? But they throw that name fetus out there. The media's running with it because they're they're covering for whatever reason. They love Parenthood. Obviously, the media is evil as well. So that's why we can't, just a simple. Whenever they say fetus, it's fake news. All right. So if they, the media likes to come out and say, "Oh, we're not fake news. Listen to us. We can trust us," right? Well, the fetus is, even Dr. Bernard Nathanson, the last surviving founding member of NARAL, admits this. They suppressed the fact that the fetus was a baby. But the Latin term means unborn baby. And they suppressed the fact that, life begins at conception. They deliberately did so because they knew they could never pass Roe v. Wade. Dr. Nathanson says it's the biggest mistake in American history. And he himself killed 75,000 people. And the motive behind it was to create a business so they can all get rich. They can make like $20,000 a day on a Saturday. And they all wanted to get rich. That's nowadays, probably a lot more nowadays. And like I said, most of the services they're providing that bring back the profit are abortion. They are abortion-driven business. And that's the dirty little secret. But this dirty little secret about the ultrasound is important because they don't want the patient, or the customer, whatever you want to call the poor woman who's been deceived, and they lie to them. They tell that there's not going to be a problem. Abby herself spent 8 weeks after her abortion, after a very physical trauma of when she took the RU 486 pill. They told her that, just take some Motrin and, you'll be fine. And lay down and get some rest or something. And it took her 8 weeks of physical pain. And she thought she was going to die several times. And when she called to get additional help, they basically hung up on her, saying that they have other patients. And this was even, I believe it was even out of her own clinic that she was volunteering at the time. So, Planned Parenthood gets exposed here, and we're giving them all this money. This Title X that is out there for additional funding from states, I believe. They call it Title X. Well, what is an X? An X, everybody knows an X is when you cross out something, eliminate something. And that's what you do. You put an X. So, they come up with these names. It's almost like a running sick joke. I went, and I'm at the movie theater. I'm looking around at all the posters. Now, the movie theaters know when each movie's coming out and what have you, and they choose. Obviously, they have discretion over what type of poster they choose. So one of the posters was for the movie Us, and it shows a pair of scissors that looks like a one of those devices they use to kill babies. I mean, why would they choose that for the movie Us? It made no sense. There was another movie. It was a weird name, but the subtitle was "We're Coming to Get Your Children." So Us, right? Coming to get your children. That's all demons. Demons right there. Wanted to point that out too. So, and this whole thing about, let's tie this back into capitalism, right? The liberals supposedly hate this capitalistic world and more socialist nowadays, and even beyond that. And they hate the type of capitalism that abuses the environment and abuses, people, right? But they're all, I was going to say they're all, it's a different subject, but they love Uber, right? And that abuses the people. You know, they love Lyft that abuses the people in multiple different ways. They do it. Their own employees. And then there's this girl who just, you know, was confused and got into the wrong car. And if you're not in a clearly marked car and you're drunk, you're cold, and you're tired, and you just got out of a club, you sometimes you make mistakes and you want to jump in the closest car you can. And you know, and they're young too. They're youth. They're young. They make mistakes. When you're young, you do make these mistakes. So, but that's another message for another day. But to tie this back into the capitalism and abortion is, here's this capitalist. It was all Roe v. Wade is a capitalistic idea to capitalize on the unborn and women who are in bad positions, and a lot of times the boyfriends aren't there, as Abby says in the movie. The boyfriends, most of the times, a lot of times, they run out of the clinic. You know, I thought that was interesting. She said that's a very common occurrence. But here we go to his capitalism taking advantage of the weakest people, the weak women, and the unborn, who, according to Dr. Bernard Nathanson, is a life. And he's the one who pushed for, and he was the face of Roe v. Wade as far as the go-to for the press. I mean, you can do a Google search on Dr. Bernard Nathanson now, and his face is all over the place. And he was the figurehead, the spokesperson, whatever you want to call it. He realizes now, you know, he made a huge mistake. And, you know, the churches are you know, nobody fears the churches anymore. The church has been bought off by the 501c3, so they will not even discuss these things. And now we get generations and generations of pastors who are not trained and not conditioned and just don't even go there. They don't want to rock the boat because they'll lose their job. And that's just not the way to lead. Pastors are very important. They need to lead our communities and hold the politicians responsible. But, you know, so that's a problem. But Dr. Bernard Nathanson says that this Roe v. Wade, and we have 4,000 dying every day, I think, in America. 60 million since, you know, since 1973 or 4, whatever it was. I think it was 3. And it's true what they say. The most dangerous place to be in America is in the womb. And, you know, the woman's at fault, the man's at fault, too. Hollywood's at fault for creating, you know, a culture that's carefree about sex. You know, the pastors are not there. Nobody talks up healthy dating, go around and doing positive activities. You know, nobody even teaches you how to date nowadays. It's all chemical. There's no, you know, chaperoning. There's no leadership in that department. I can't think of anything. But dating can be the greatest thing you ever did, in my opinion. So getting back to Dr. Bernard Nathanson, he is the authority. You know, he's passed away now, but there is a YouTube video on him, and I'll try to put the link underneath, where he testifies and said the motive for doing it all was to create a lucrative industry at the hands of the weakest. And we're all liberals, you know, taking a stand for the weakest in this regard. You know, where's the social justice for the unborn? You know what I mean? It's absurd. They're so two-faced. And then the whole pro-choice movement. You know, they're only pro-choice on one little subject, right? And that's murder. And you're murdering your own baby, and you're murdering your own lineage, and you're doing damage to yourself physically and psychologically. You're going to be haunted forever. As Abby says, you'll never forget it. All right? So but there's no, you know, they're not pro-choice. Liberals, you know, are not pro-choice in any other area. You know, school vouchers or gun control, you know, the right to hold a gun. There's several other examples. Anyway, that's my message today. You know, I think I said everything I wanted to say. I covered everything I wanted to say. Go see that movie. Get your pastors involved. We got to, you know, the Trump is trying to. I think he did. He wrote executive order. You know, saying pastors can say what they want to say now, and that's the key. The key to it all is get the pastors talking. Then the sheep, the people in the pews, they talk it up, and then we get a groundswell of power that'll, you know, go from coast to coast and throw all these bums out, because they all voted to support Title X, or they were just in my state anyway, vote absent or not vote, you know, and that's they're the weakest. Until we honor the weakest among us, God's not going to honor us, and we're in a lot of trouble. We won't even have a nation. I guarantee you that much longer. God's wrath will come down, and the whole world, you know, the Armageddon's coming. Let's face it. And this is just one signpost, and it's all blood. And you know, when the blood, as the Bible says, it's going to go right up to the horse's bridle. I mean, we won't have the internet, by the way, probably by then with all the EMPs. You know, there's going to be major issues. 2/3 of the world are going to die. That's going to be the blood that's going to pay for the 60 million babies in America that we've killed. There's probably been 1 billion babies killed in abortion. And if 2/3 of the people die, so there's 7 billion now, there'll be 5 billion that are going to die, maybe more, okay, in God's coming wrath. So that's a 1-to-5 ratio. And, you know, all in the name of pro-choice. Well, you just made your choice. And Armageddon's coming. And the whole world's under the sway of the evil one. Satan has fooled you. He's tricked you. And this movie proves it. So everything's, you know, we reap what we sow, and we're going to get it back multiple times. And the church, God help the church. They're not even preaching the gospel anymore. The church needs to be freed up. All right, so that's what I got today on this show. I hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, get your notifications, and we will talk again tomorrow.